Hello everyone, Visible Jiu-Jitsu, David Musgal, Little Rukish helping out. We're going to go in depth into flower sweep, the pendulum sweep, and some armbar options, controlling everything. It's going to be a long video, so if that upsets you, I'm sorry. You know, feel free to do what I do with the Danaher videos and put the play speed onto like 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and then hear me talk really high pitched, but it's quicker. So, flower sweep and pendulum sweep are two similar sweeps, very different. There's going to be someone in the comments that says, but in my academy we call it such and such a sweep. I don't care, shut up. Flower sweep, pendulum sweep. Flower sweep, very simple, I stay relaxed, boom, and then I hit him. Pendulum sweep, I want to get under him a bit more. We're going to see. They're related and similar mechanics, but different. Now flower sweep's going to look a little something like this. Okay, grip, break balance, and kick over to the front corner from here, controlling mount. Okay. Things that I'm doing here. I'm gripping the gi, okay, gripping this sleeve so that he can't put his arm out. And then I want to in some way dominate this leg. Sometimes you'll be able to grip with the knee, okay, sometimes there'll be this nice little ruffle there, okay, and I just take a grip. Sometimes that won't be there, and I can make it happen by just bringing him forward a little bit and loosening off those pants. The one I tend to favor is a kind of pocket grip, about 3/4 of the way down his shin. Okay, this is really nice. Remember, I can't reach inside the gi, but what I can do is exactly the same cheat method that I use here. Okay, so I turn the gi over and make a really strong grip here. Okay, so I have this grip, and we're going to talk about this grip in a second, why I choose this grip. From here, I want to break balance, so I stamp on the ground and I bring him to me using his armpit to knock him forward. Okay, if he sits all the way back, all the way back, all the way back, this is how we kill a flower sweep. There's really no flower sweep going to happen from here. So I have to have him just a little bit forward, ready, yeah, and I just relax until I get that opportunity, okay? And we'll talk a little bit about a nice, perfect opportunity he's going to give me later when he tries to open my guard. So from here, I break balance, and at the same time I break balance, I pull myself around to 90 degrees by pulling on the leg. That's going to put me into a position now where my hamstring and my leg press can finish the movement, all right? A very, very common mistake with people's flower sweep is that they kind of turn it into a power flower and they go like this. Now, if the guy's not huge and if he's off balance and if you've got reasonably strong adductors, you might be able to get this, okay? Without cutting the angle and using like a closing of your legs adductor strength, right? But if I go to my angle first, now I load him up on my hamstring and it's a much stronger sweeping mechanics, okay? It's much stronger muscles, right? So rather than try and knock him straight over like this, I'm going to bring him forward and then do a leg press, okay? So if we show from the other side, we'll talk about this grip now. This is about the only time I ever take this type of grip. And what I do is I take 4 fingers, but running along the length of his gi this time. So rather than a 4-finger pocket grip, I take this grip. And I use my palm to keep his forearm on my chest. Okay? Kind of as I'm like saying the Pledge of Allegiance, even though I'm not American and we don't do that sort of thing here. Okay? So I keep this to me. Grip, break balance and angle, and then we're going to the front corner, and that's where my hand on the leg is going to help me come up. And as I come up, I want to bring my hips in close and then come up on top. I don't want to come up on top with my hips loose where he's going to recover some sort of half guard shin in between me and stop my mount. Okay, so if I take this grip here and he tries to put his hand out, it closes the gap where here he can kind of circle his hand underneath me. All right, so here he can pull his hand back and around. Here I just have a better control of his hand. All right, so this is about the only time I ever use this type of grip. Okay. And then as I'm leg pressing, look, I bring the leg to me, so it's light, and then punch it over. And as I get to here, my hips come in, and I come up on top. Right, so from this side, the hips. Okay, so great balance and angle, leg comes to me, my hips go in, I curl my hamstring on the other side, and I come up into a nice mount. If I can dominate one of his arms or both of his arms as I come up, even better. Okay, so that's my flower sweep, and it's not the power flower where I'm using adductor strength. I want to use hamstrings. Pendulum sweep is going to be incredibly similar. It's going to involve a 90-degree angle. It's going to involve trapping that same arm and in some way dominating that leg. But we're going to do it in a much more different fashion, and I'm going to get my hips right out from underneath it. So now I can take the same grip, and there's actually more grip options for my pendulum sweep than my flower sweep for me that I do. But I'll show this one first, and then we'll talk about the grip options. So now I'm going to bring him to me as I swim under. Okay? Sometimes I can just start swimming without bringing him in too much, but bringing him in is going to open all of this space for me really nicely. And I do it at the same time as I crunch off to the side. So I bring him in, and I try and get deep on this arm. And there's my pendulum sweep. Okay? So, by bringing him in and going deep, now I have a way to keep his weight anchored onto me. Right? And what I want to do is I want to load him up onto this hamstring. The big mistake is people stay low with the hamstring. So right now, in closed guard, my hamstring is at his belt line. What I want to do is let him go away a little bit and swing my leg up into his armpit as if I was going for an arm bar. And that's exactly what pendulum sweep can lead into. And this is where the pendulum gets its name. I whip and load him onto my hamstring, curl my leg, and bring my leg press into play. Okay? So by penduluming him onto his head, I'm able to control his balance. Right? It's a loading sweep. I want to load him onto my leg. If we come this side now. That's an advantage maybe. Okay, so grip, nice and deep. Adjust, and my hips are out, completely out from underneath him now. And watch my pendulum. And then I reverse the direction. So first I bring him onto me, then I kick forward and over. Right? I want to be tight at the elbow like I'm doing a bicep pose. I don't want to just be holding his leg. It's going to be very easy for my opponent to sprawl out of this. In terms of the grip, we talked about that grip. This is nice, especially for the sweep. It's a good control. Okay, but sometimes I find if I'm trying to then switch into arm bars, I want to change my grip a little bit. So what I like to do sometimes is actually hold on the outside of his elbow where I can push his elbow to the inside. So now, as I go, I'm able to either finish my arm bar from the bottom or sweep him over and take my arm bar here. And it just makes him pulling his arm out of my elbow a little bit easier. Harder for him. Easier for me to control. Okay, so if we turn this way. Yeah. So as I come through, look, now I hold on the outside of his elbow, and again I keep it pinned to me. Now if he tries to pull his arm out, it's much more difficult than if I was holding here, pull your elbow out. Sometimes I lose that elbow, and I have to try and salvage a triangle position or something, but it's a bad triangle for me. I'm being stacked and I'm on the wrong side. I'm not saying it won't work, it's just not ideal for me. Armbar is ideal. So by controlling the elbow, you see, I've freed my hips. As I pendulum, I could swing, finish here, go hips up and use the penknife principle, the video we did previously, or this time, I do not curl my leg underneath. And I leave it ready to catch the arm bar from the top. So we've got a lot of finishes that we can do there. The main mistake there is that people aren't bringing the person forward enough. They're not loading them on the hamstring enough, and then they're having to use a lot of power to finish the sweep. It's a big problem with everything. Every technique that involves off-balancing, the more off-balancing that we do, the less power we need to hit the finish. The less off-balancing, the more we need to compensate with brute force. And I want to avoid brute force, okay? And there's things I can do here where, you know, we'll wrap the lapel and use the lapel to anchor ourselves in place and stuff. That's really nice. And then we've got the armbar attacks and things like that. Obviously, against someone really athletic, you might find that, you know, coming up to mount is a more stable position than trying that armbar. You might find the guy disappears and immediately starts hitchhiking. It's up to you. You know, they're all options. Okay, so last time, pendulum sweep. I'm going to dominate his arm, and now look, my hips go free, and my right leg is up in his armpit. Okay, I'm not trying to sweep from down low. From here, I have my armbar option. If I was to leave my leg low, I would not be able to pass this leg for an armbar. And if I did sweep, I'm way too low. This elbow is going to be hidden down on the floor here. Okay, so I must free my hips and get up high to my armbar. Whip. Yeah, I could even dominate this leg and finish here to cut off some of his escapes. Okay, so if you like the video, thanks to Lucas, thanks to you guys for watching. If you like this video, if you want to see something else, leave me a comment down below. I always appreciate the comments. Thanks a lot, guys.